March 25th, 2013, 7 PM.
Move to accept the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we open the meeting, we accepted the agenda, 7:10. We've got to our next public hearing. Is there any, got any filler for 10 minutes?
Well, have we heard anything on the house, the town way?
Yeah, I met with the engineer, and we've got two possible solutions, and I managed to snag the conservation agent at the same time and explain to him, and he's very new to all of this, but basically they're either proposing a reduced volume tight tank to be buried in the sand every year and taken out every year, which I think is very problematic and on a number of different issues, and putting one maybe up on the deck.
Where is this location? What are we talking about?
Piggy Beach,
Oh,
oceanfront, one of the two houses.
yep, got it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, I wrote to the other guy, Slocum, telling he has two options, either to give me the same kind of notarized statement that those people did, or
Right.
we would hold a hearing and declare it condemned for him.
Did you send that, you sent a letter on that, a certified?
Oh, yeah. So, as soon as condemnation is done, I think these people understand that. I think that we got them moving anyway. So, basically, he's going to go into Concom, and they're meeting on April 1st to sort of get a feeling from them with which they would accept, because I don't want him to have to go through the proposal twice. You know, let's get on the same page and do it once, basically. There's also proposed changes in Title V that will go into effect at some point, I'm sure, to give us local boards full control over tight tanks again. So, you know, we're proceeding in the right thing. If he does elevate the tank to the deck, in order to accommodate the weight, he's gonna have to drive a couple pylons. But I think that's probably the most stable thing to do. And as I cautioned him, I said, you know, if you want this, you know, put in and remove thing, it's one, it's a problem if you have a storm in the summer, and two, if they change the regs, this won't fly. So, you know, but we'll see what happens. I'm not really sure.
Have to wait to see what the engineer comes up with.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
think he needs to sound out the conservation.
Right.
Because obviously, you know, we do it once, not twice, 3 times. I mean, it's one thing if DEP objects, but it's another if Concom objects, then it could get expensive, this back and forth. You know, hopefully we'll flush it out. And, you know, that'll solve that problem. The engineer who did, Phil Spath, who did the inspection on Slocum's house, has refused to take the case and has referred it to another engineer, who I haven't heard from yet, but I don't know what's gonna happen there, because we still may have to hold a condemnation hearing.
Yeah, we can reverse that.
Well, yeah, if he comes up with a solution, you know, it is reversible. It's just the choice he chooses to make. You know, it's definitely time to Special Cup A. So, town meeting, we'll be meeting the night before. At that point, I think we will have to start taking up the location.
And that, is that still gonna be, is that gonna be a one-night meeting, or is that, or they don't know, he's still, it's,
No, tonight is what they're planning. Town meeting.
they've already scheduled two, or they're just expecting it to go to a second night? Huh.
Yeah, there's 42 articles. I don't remember one that long,
Mhm.
When is the, it's
9th and 10th.
okay.
And have they released that agenda? Has that been sort of,
No,
Oh.
no, they just, I think they've reserved it in everybody's mind.
no, but they haven't come out with the
I mean, the
Pamphlet,
booklet,
the
oh,
booklet.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
no, I haven't seen it yet. I would expect it anytime now, maybe the end of the week. Oh, let me see what happens. I'm still trying to get storm letters out. I almost had them ready to go. And then the next storm started. So I'm back to surveying damage again. I think they're gonna be going out from 109 Glades to the gate. And then there's gonna be some around 246, 248 Central, and then more from like 260 on. They did the repair at 268 today. They got that up and running pretty quick. Plus, I think they're all counting on the fact that maybe the storms are over.
Still early.
Then I'll get to do it again. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. There's one fellow that was a little misinformed as to procedure, that Conservation Area forwards correspondence, and I caught him and, gave him the proper sequence of events. He was gonna do the repair and then do a Title V inspection on top of it. I said, no. You don't have to do that. So, hopefully we'll get them done for this week. And, they'll have some time to figure out what they gotta do, and we'll take it case by case like we did the last time. So, it's gonna be.
Yeah, simple inspection.
It's gonna be a busy season.
Jennifer, that was a perfect fill-in. Thank you. 7:10 PM, public hearing, FDA tobacco violation, Scituate Shell, 141 Front Street. Is anybody here from Scituate Shell?
oh, yeah,
Unbelievable.
It is.
well,
I talked to him today.
yeah,
Were they aware of the meeting? And they were aware of the time?
And he said he was definitely coming.
Well, we're using town hall
Didn't we,
clock. so-
didn't we vote that this was like a show cause why their license shouldn't be suspended?
We did at the last meeting, yeah.
Wait a minute. Mr. Mazzoni?
Yes.
That's him?
Sorry.
Come on,
Sorry.
you're saved by the bell.
I'll wait back, I'll go back to Scituate.
You should see my letter.
Oh.
In bold print.
Come on up.
Okay.
How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, sorry about, last 2 times, like every snowstorm this winter happened on a weekend. So worked all week, then cleaned up the place all weekend. So Monday came around and I'm like, couldn't even keep my eyes open, so unfortunately. So I didn't do it on purpose by any means. And I do apologize for it. I did send a letter to the company. I don't know if they ever received this letter. Did they receive that letter?
I don't know.
Because
Who
that was
would
my
you mail
main
this
thing to
to?
do. I read through those the FDA people there. They sent me a letter saying that, you know, I gotta try to, we're gonna change, do differently. And we have been, you know, making sure, there's a 25. See, a lot of these kids, they have beards and stuff like that, so I tell them, so.
Well, they need identification.
Yeah, absolutely. And what it is,
Whether they have a beard or
it is,
not.
they give me college IDs or whatever, so we're not even taking them anymore. You know, legally, they're not even valid. So if they don't have a Mass State ID, then they don't, no matter what. No question about it, whether they came in a million times before and did it or whatever. Started about 2 months ago, so.
Are you aware that there's some online training?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I've been on, RJ Reynolds also has a program that I've been trying to get my guys, everybody, well, I'm not trying to, I am getting my guys, all gonna be trained on that online training.
Okay.
When do you plan on doing that?
It's coming up, it's in April.
Okay.
So.
Are there any certificates that come with that
Yeah,
you could
there is.
present to the board?
Yep.
All right.
All right, how many guys do you have working for you?
Excuse me?
How many guys do you have working for you?
Well, only full-time, we only have 2, but we have a couple guys that will come in, you know, maybe 10 hours a week.
All right, so you have 4 people
Yeah,
who have to get trained.
right. Well, there's actually only 3 that have to get trained, because one of them's just a mechanic, he's a full-time, he doesn't deal with doesn't deal up front at all.
Okay, so by the end of April, you can have us some certification available to
Absolutely.
the board?
Yep, I could definitely present a certification. Right from RJ Reynolds, so I don't know if that should be good, because I've.
Well, there's
stuff.
also some online training being in Massachusetts. I'll get you the link.
Okay, yeah, see, I'm just, haven't heard of the Massachusetts, just the RJ Reynolds thing, because they used to be a rep that come out. He'd bring out the signs, you know, like the age, like saying they have to be 1986, you know, to be able to go buy cigarettes and stuff like that. And because of cutbacks or whatever, you know, they don't have the guy that comes out anymore, they just do everything via email or make a phone call.
But it's not their responsibility.
It's not,
It's yours.
it's not, it's absolutely mine, and I take full responsibility for it, and, you know, we've been good. I mean, we've been there now for 3 years, and this is really, what, the first time?
We haven't had testing in a while. The
Yeah.
state stopped that too. But just to
Yeah.
let you know that some of the towns may be getting together to do spot testing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not something that has permanently gone away.
Right, yeah, no, and
So,
we've.
It's not that we're out to,
Right, oh, yeah, no, I
to do
understand.
things. We just want to make sure
Right,
everybody's doing
sure,
what they're
sure,
supposed to
I
be doing.
understand that, you know, I
Yeah,
understand that.
we've had, when we had the tobacco control project, we had some very good years where everyone was in total compliance, and we wouldn't have violations.
Mm.
But then we had strings of years where
Yeah, well,
we had not only had violations, we had some repetitive violations.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
the fines that our local regs allow for
Yeah, hefty.
go up.
Believe me, I can't even pay my oil bill this year, so believe me, I'm waiting for spring like everybody else in Scituate.
So,
So,
yeah.
So you mentioned you've been there for 3 years, is that right?
Yeah, 3
Are you-
years.
Are you the owner or the operator of the
Owner,
station?
owner. Yeah, I've had other gas stations in the past, like, that's why I do have a good record since 1987. I started my first gas station in Marshfield. And I think about that whole time, we've had one warning. We've never had a revocation at any of our locations.
Okay, because I think that we had previous violations, but it might have been a
It
different
was a
owner.
different, right, it was under.
Okay. Well, I just
under
want to make
the-
sure we're on
Yeah, yeah.
Habib,
we're sure
the
of
right
that.
page there.
Yeah, the other guy went down the tubes to the point where we had,
Oh, it's horrible.
we had all his tobacco removed
Yeah, it
from the
took,
premises.
it's
for
taken
a
me
week.
years just to try to get away from that. That was the most poorly run operation I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's very fractured, the structure
Yeah,
there.
there's nobody there. Nobody, nobody to look over. That's why they went out of business. I'm from this area, South Shore. I grew up in this area, and I try to keep everybody that works with me from the area as much as I can, And yeah, tobacco will, will hurt, because I need every penny to make it. I'm saying, whether it's 25 cents on a pack of cigarettes, 25 cents on a soda, whatever. I need everything. That's why and like I said, I didn't purposely miss these meetings. It's been a bad winter. It didn't start bad till February, but it got real bad real quick.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
know.
we're all aware
We've
of that.
been all weekend, every weekend, so I'm out all night, not making any money, it cost me a fortune. And the meetings are Mondays, and then I gotta work, it's like I actually fell asleep. And one day I was actually dressed and I fell asleep before I made the meeting. It's only 7 o'clock.
While you're aware of that, I'm just gonna say, we'll get the training from you. And
Oh,
the
absolutely, and I
certificates.
apologize to you guys.
And usually first
a
round
lot.
is a warning, and second, the fines start, and the third,
Well,
we start
let's-
shutting it down for sales for a week, and
Right,
then,
right.
as Jennifer said, it gets to the point where the tobacco's removed, and the final straw is the license is revoked, and
Exactly.
believe me, we don't wanna do that.
No, I don't.
On the other hand, we don't want
to.
you selling tobacco to minors,
Exactly,
so
I
with that, I'm,
understand too, I mean,
I'm
you know
done.
what I just get
Yep.
kills me that is that these kids their mothers have them come in and buy the butts for them.
Well, they still need identification.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, whatever, I know, it is what it is, but it's like, can't you get out of the car and get it yourself? You send your 12-year-old kid in to get it? He says, no, get your mom,
Well, you can't
get
sell
out
it
of
to the
there.
12-year-old. The parent has to get out of the car then.
All right, well, thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
We just wanted to make sure that you understood.
I do, and I really do appreciate you guys sending me this letter, and I do appreciate, this town's been great for me, it really has. And I really like this town, and I don't want to cause any friction, shall we say.
Okay.
No?
Hopefully, we'll never see you again.
Well,
That's
will
exactly
you send me
right,
with
yep.
those certificates?
Yes,
I'll swing by, even if I swing by during the daytime.
that's
Yeah.
fine,
Fine.
that's fine.
Jennifer's here, or our
You
secretary,
can drop
Ms.
them,
Montanari's
you can
here.
drop them off at
Yep.
the office, that's fine.
Yeah, no, because I've already paid for it, so I'm gonna make sure they're gonna get them up here. so.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, we
good.
All
appreciate
right,
that.
well, thank you
And
very
make
much.
sure when you have a new employee that they get trained too.
Get trained too, so, very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Wind turbine discussion continued. First on the agenda, Mr. Tom Thompson, resident, 149 Gilson Road, to address the apparent liquidation of Loomis Construction and its impact on Soleil Energy and Scituate Wind LLC. Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Clark, thank you. I neglected to do this the last time I was in here, and I owe Jennifer an apology. And I had a nice exchange with Mary late last week. You guys did a heck of a job during the storm, the last couple of incidents that we've had, and I think you guys need to be commended. And I neglected to say that the last time. I just wanted to make sure that we recognized you, the entire group, for a job very, very well done. On the topic of Loomis Construction and the issues that we brought forward to the Board of Health, we've asked for a written response to that. I know that Jennifer and the team have been very, very busy dealing with other matters and so on and so forth. So we haven't received a response yet. We totally appreciate why we haven't received a response, and when she has an opportunity to clear her desk, we certainly look forward to receiving that letter and in due course. So just for the record. What I really wanted to talk a little bit about tonight is that on Saturday, March 23rd, the neighbors of the Scituate Industrial Wind Turbine hosted an education and an advocacy event. And I was working on today as well, so unfortunately I didn't get a chance to send this to you, but this evening we sent you an email that points you to a YouTube video, which is essentially a 2-hour presentation of the event that was held on the 23rd. Good. You know, we have a different view than the wind developer in terms of the overall issues that should be addressed in the study that's now being prepared. As As you know, we had approached this from a multifaceted, three-pronged approach, a very broad acoustical study that dealt with.
Excuse me, can I just interrupt for a second? Does this YouTube video have anything to do with the liquidation of Loomis?
No, no, it doesn't. But I think I've asked for standing the last 2 board meetings, wasn't allowed to, so we'll take this time to discuss this particular matter, and I'll be brief, Mr. Glass. Thank you. So we had espoused a broader approach that focused on infrasound, low-frequency sound, et cetera, et cetera. That wasn't what was embraced. We wanted to focus on strobe light effects from the turbine. That wasn't embraced, and of course, the health and safety issues that go along with it. So on Saturday, we had 100 people in, and we had industry practitioners, specialists that focus on acoustical analysis. Mr. Richard James did a marvelous job, a 30-minute presentation. We had Dr. Jeffrey Silver, who's a doctor from Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, specializing in sleep medicine and sleep deprivation, gave us a marvelous presentation on health impacts resulting from lack of sleep and so on and so forth. And then, of course, we showed the shadow flicker, the strobe light effect presentation that you've seen before, and Mr. McKeever delivered a very, very eloquent presentation to those in attendance. I know that there's been some real concern amongst the members of the Board of Health about, the lack of availability of science and scientific research and evidence and so on and so forth. And we really think that, the presentations that were delivered that you will now have an opportunity to review with some backup material. We can certainly provide you the PowerPoint presentations and so on that went along with it. I think will clear up a lot of the confusion that you folks may have had up until this point in time. I know that you've been put in a very, very difficult situation in an attempt to balance your responsibilities to protect the health and safety of the residents of the town versus, other considerations that may be out there. So we thought it was important for the community to understand accurately what the issues are based on third-party professional input. We were able to deliver that. The broader audience will be able a chance to take a look at that and make their own determinations, and we certainly encourage you as members of this board to do the same, because I think we could probably get to a much closer place than perhaps we have been in the past once you've had an opportunity to review that. So I just wanted to, for the record, let you know we did conduct the event. We were disappointed that town officials weren't able to make it. This was all arranged fairly quickly, so we probably appreciate the schedules may have been a challenge in that respect. Totally appreciate that. But you now have the information, and once you've had a chance to review it, certainly I would be very, very happy to re-engage with you to answer any questions that you might have, provide access to the professionals that made the presentations, and we can go from there.
Okay, thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I had a question about the letter that you wrote in the bankruptcy
Please.
issue. Were you expecting the board to write you a letter, or Scituate Wind to write a letter about the
No,
situation?
we directed this to you folks, and this organization, or it's one of its shell companies, is a partner of yours. Certainly, Scituate Wind LLC is a shell company. It has no assets, it has no intellectual property. Probably has a little bit of revenue because of this project, but that's essentially it. Our understanding is Soleil Energy is one level up, sort of in a similar situation. So the parent really is Loomis Construction. For whatever reason, the town had entered into an agreement with a shell company with no assets and no intellectual property. So I'm sure that if they didn't lock in the parent company contractually, at least in their mind, would have thought that there must be some financial heft behind that, a company 1 or 2 layers up to support that in the event there was an issue. So, so Loomis, as we know, had its assets liquidated in an auction. So we just felt that as a contractor with them, you folks would probably have looked at that and just want to make sure from an operational perspective there's enough financial strength somewhere in that chain to make sure that they'll be able to continue to operate satisfactorily. And as we pointed out, if that doesn't happen, there are certain provisions that you folks have from a public health and safety perspective in Section 7 of the site lease agreement that you have remedies to deal with that. So we're not looking for the wind developer to provide a response. I mean, certainly if they provide a response to you and you feel it's relevant, and that should be an attachment to correspondence coming back to us as residents and taxpayers, we'll defer to your judgment in that respect. But the letter was addressed to the Board of Health, and certainly Ms. Sullivan is lead for part of that, so that's where we would expect the correspondence to come from.
That's what I thought, and so I was trying to understand, at least speaking for myself, the question that you asked was, when did we know, what do you know, what do you know it, but in one sense, but what did you know about this, and what are you gonna do about it? I think it sort of sums it up, and from my point of view, when we first learned about it was from you, to answer your question. And second, we've discussed the difference between the Board of Health and the town. The Board of Health didn't enter into this contract, the town did. And I'm not sure what you are asking, other than, the remedies that you've mentioned that are in the contract that the town has. What difference this makes to the Board of Health if it goes under?
Right, so section 7 of the site lease agreement, and I don't have it in front of me, points to remedies available to protect public health and safety. So when I review the mandate of the Scituate Board of Health, they're responsible for protecting the public health and safety of the residents of the town of Scituate. There are certain provisions within section 7 that point to the ability to take over operation of that industrial wind turbine. And I think one of the questions that you haven't mentioned that we did ask was, what sort of arrangements would have been made if, in fact, from a public health and safety perspective, there was a requirement to jump in and take over operation of that industrial wind turbine. So that was the reason that that section of the site lease agreement was directed to Ms. Sullivan, so that, as the overseer of the Board of Health and Public Health and Safety. So we may have taken a bit of a leap of faith that that was public health and safety apropos that document fell within the purview of the Board of Health, but certainly from a practical perspective seemed to make sense.
I think you took a leap of faith, with all due respect. And so I guess, to me, you're asking us a hypothetical question, I think, which is what happens if whoever is operating the turbine goes under?
Well, certainly, I don't expect any of you nor do I, have the expertise to operate an industrial wind turbine. But if an entity enters into an agreement, and that's a remedy that's available to them, I would think that I would have some confidence or game plan that in the unlikely event that there was an issue, that I would be able to execute on that particular remedy. And again, we directed this particular question to Ms. Sullivan, and by extension this body, because it's implicit in that document in section 7 that those are the remedies available if you were to protect public health and safety. And we know that the responsibilities on the protection of public health and safety are separate and distinct from the Board of Selectmen. They fall on the shoulders of Ms. Sullivan's department and the Board of Health, and hence that was the reason that we directed the question to you folks. So, somebody's gonna send us a letter back, and it'll deal with it. Maybe it's not Ms. Sullivan, maybe it is the Selectmen, maybe it's some other member of the town, I don't know. But I just wanted to share with you.
And I just wanted to understand where you were coming from,
Yeah.
so that we could intelligently inform.
Yeah. And that was the thought process.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because conversely, we didn't want to direct a public health and safety question, or at least what it seemed to be a public health and safety question, to the Board of Selectmen, when clearly that's not their mandate, nor their role, nor their responsibility. And that's in the town charter, and as you know, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
And I don't know if you saw it, but to be clear, everything that comes to the Board of Health is public record. So the Scituate Wind did send us a letter in response to the issues that you raised, and if you haven't gotten it already, you should get it, and I'm sure Jennifer would be happy to forward it to you.
Yeah, look forward to receiving it. As I say, look, I don't have any issue with the fact we haven't received anything back from Ms. Sullivan or the board yet. You guys have had some very, very significant issues to deal with to protect the health and safety of a lot of folks that were negatively impacted by these storms. So I would never walk in here and take issue with the fact that we haven't received a letter on a question that's unrelated to any of that. So
that something, Jennifer,
that's why I wanted to open.
CC tomorrow, or mail tomorrow?
Oh,
From the
yeah,
email?
The Scituate, Scituate Wind, I can get that out tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just, I know we're gonna get into the RFP, and I may not be allowed to speak during that, so I just wanted one last point on that's related to this. And we're gonna follow this up in correspondence. We know that at some point in time, the RFP, as such as it is designed, there'll be a determination made as to an acoustic engineer that Scituate Wind's happy with. So it's our intention to engage an acoustical consultant to conduct the scope as we have designed it at the exact same time as this. So you'll receive in a letter from us that we would like to have reasonable notice, and I'm not talking 2 or 3 days, reasonable notice as to exactly what the schedule for that study is. Our consultant will pick their locations, and they're going to conduct the study based on the broader approach that we've espoused, which will focus very much on low-frequency sound, infrasound, aerodynamic amplitude modulation. And we also expect to be provided with the operational data from the turbine at that particular point in time, which is a term called SCADA, which I'm not an acoustic expert, so we'll reference that in the letter and point to you. So just for the record, we will simultaneously conduct our acoustical analysis based on the approach that we've espoused. And we expect that the playing field to be exactly the same as it is for Mr. Dean's consultant. So just for the record, we'll be approaching that way as well. And that's it. I really appreciate you guys letting me talk today. And again, Jennifer, job well done, and we'll keep working the process. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you folks have once you've had a chance to review the presentation I forwarded to you today.
Well, you're not gonna leave, are you? Now?
No, that would be
Oh,
rude.
okay.
In theory, I don't have a problem with what you said, but we'll have to see how that's gonna work. I don't know if the
Right,
other company.
well, we're gonna discuss the RFP, and I did have some questions that may.
Yeah, that's gonna
impact-
raise a few more questions too, and, yeah.
Yeah, no. that would be
In
rude.
theory, I don't have a problem with it, but logistically, we'll have to see how it works out.
Hey, there's no responsibility on the part of the Board of Health, other than to give us the exact same times that you'll know.
Yeah,
And and we're not asking you for money, we don't even need your involvement.
yeah, no, that's why I say I love it in theory. I think it's great.
We'll do our test.
Yep,
And then, but we will need the operational data,
yeah,
okay? But again, I'll follow that up in the letter.
yeah. Yep. You're good.
I'm good, thank you.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Mary.
Continuing on, Mr. Gordon Dean of Scituate Wind LLC will update the board on the status of the RFP. You want to sit down, or you can stay there, wherever you're comfortable.
Where would you like?
Wherever you're comfortable.
Wherever you're comfortable.
All right. Good to see you.
May I ask the indulgence of the board to make a few responses to what Mr. Thompson just said?
Fine, okay.
Yeah. Make a few responses in what way?
Well, he's brought up a couple of items in particular about Scituate Wind and having no assets, and its relationship to Loomis. And unfortunately, what we have, both in his letter to the board, his statements tonight, and while I did not attend, I'm assuming also on Saturday's meeting, is a misinformation campaign, which is harmful to the town of Scituate and harmful to its residents. Scituate Wind is not a company without assets. It has a 25-year agreement, lease agreement with the town of Scituate, has a 15-year power purchase agreement with the town of Scituate. It owns significant equipment, which is what everybody's complaining about. The fact, Loomis Construction is not the parent company. A subsidiary of Loomis, Solea Energy, is currently a 1% owner of Scituate Wind. Neither Loomis nor Solea built the equipment. They don't operate it. They're not responsible for managing it. So all these statements about Loomis's bankruptcy has absolutely nothing to do. I mean, Loomis has already responded to this in the press months ago. So having this constant misinformation spread is not helpful. Similarly, we're very upset about the misinformation that's spread on Saturday. Looking forward to seeing some of the video on this. I did not attend, but there are 2 reports out within the past month which indicate that there are many more health effects being reported in areas where people go in and complain that there could be health effects. You don't see this in Hull, you don't see this at the Medford Turbine, you don't see this lots of places where people don't come in and to do the rabble rousing that we're seeing here. In fact, there's a very interesting clinical study I'm happy to forward to the board, which showed that if you expose people to what's on the internet about possible negative effects of infrasound, and then you tell them you're exposing them to infrasound, but you don't expose them to infrasound, they will report those health effects. So this is a concern that this kind of information is actually kind of causing the health effects itself. And I'll share that with the board. Now I'll move on to the RFP.
May I just say one thing, just very quickly, and it's not going to be argumentative at all?
That's.
I appreciate Mr. Dean's input on the status of Scituate Wind LLC and so on and so forth. That's why we sent the correspondence to the Board of Health, and I certainly look forward to the documentation that Mr. Dean's provided to the town, which I'm sure clears a lot of this information up. So we appreciate that. On the second topic, industry specialist presented on Saturday. Mr. Dean will probably get a copy of that, and he can make his own assessment. So,
All right.
so just
I think I know my opinion. I'm excited for the RFP and to get the post-construction study and look at it that way. So, Mr. Dean,
As
please.
you know, as I reported at the last meeting, and as you copied on, the RFP was sent out to 10 consulting firms. At our last meeting, I reported that 2 had responded that they were planning to submit a bid. I had not heard from the other ones. At the request of the board, I asked all the original 10 firms to contact me again one way or the other. One of them did, HMMH. Said that they didn't have time to respond on the time frame here. We did receive an inquiry from a firm, Air Acoustics, I think it was, up in Toronto, that said they'd be interested, but they contacted us on the 20th, proposal was due on the 21st. They decided they were not going to propose. So we did receive 2 proposals, one from Tech Environmental, one from Noise Control Engineering. Tech Environmental was on the list recommended by Scituate Wind. Noise Control Engineering was on the list recommended by the community group.
Did Scituate Wind LLC, did they approve of that company as well? The second one you just mentioned?
We thought they were a qualified company, correct.
Okay, thank you. Clarify.
Again, that was without going through the RFP process and without getting their responses. We did receive the responses. I forwarded them to the board. I don't know if you had a chance to get through them. I provided some comment on that. We felt that Tech Environmental clearly met all the requirements that we set out in the RFP and their response. We had concerns about the proposals submitted to us by Noise Control Engineering, especially the fact that they wanted to sample at the McKeevis on an unattended basis. Also that in their proposal, we did not see, A, that they'd ever done any work for developers, or B, that they'd actually even done any noise sampling of wind turbines. And we passed those comments on to you. It was based upon part of the RFP process that the Scituate Wind would review the proposals, provide its recommendations. Our recommendation to the board was that it go to Tech Environmental.
They listed all these projects, noise control, Warren, Brewster, Colebrook, that they did work, obviously, with the community groups. Aren't these wind turbines?
The RFP said that we wanted someone who would work both for developers and for opponents of wind turbines. Noise Control Engineering has confirmed in the proposal that they have only worked for opponents of wind turbines. And in the proposal, we did not see where they said they've actually done any sampling of wind turbines.
Okay, they conducted wind turbine site review studies at various levels. Okay.
So maybe no
They
post-construction.
talked about how they do study of background noise.
Right.
And why would they do that unattended?
I don't know. Well, why they would do the McHughes unattended. That made no sense.
Because they were proposing, as I read their proposal, to, if I'm not mixing them up, that they're gonna have 2 engineers there each night for the 4 nights of testing, right?
Good.
Yeah, well, that's,
But then there's the unintended.
That's right, that's my question. That's not unattended, is it?
They were gonna be at the more distant locations. If you look at the proposal, they said it would be unattended. Glasses on.
Yeah.
Would that mean they just set the equipment up and nobody would be there?
I didn't read it that way. I read it that, and it says it,
Well, maybe if they're all set up the same night, and there's 2 guys, maybe the 2 guys are only gonna be at 2 of the sites, and the other ones will be unattended. I
It
don't
says
know.
on page 5, if I may.
yeah.
First full paragraph, 3 lines down, they're talking about 151 Driftway. No direct observations will be recorded at this site. The 2 engineers will then position to 2 of the remaining sites each.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So I assumed that they were going to try. They had also recommended dropping one of the sites that was on the.
I saw that. Well, or
So they
moving it,
were,
actually.
so they were taking those 2 engineers to the 2 distant sites and leaving the McHughes unattended.
I didn't read it, well, I didn't read it that way either. I read it that they said that 2 of the locations were right next to each other, and they thought that they'd get exactly the same result, so they recommended going somewhere else. I didn't read that as the McKeevers. I read that as one of the places on the cliff.
Again, if you read this first full paragraph on page 5.
I think the reason why those were close together, though, one was on one side of the street, the other was on the ocean side.
One was ocean side and one was landward.
And they may not understand that because they're not understanding the way we came up with where we picked the sites. So that might be something that, can be clarified.
Yeah, because I would think they want both. I mean, yeah, they're near each other, but they should have opposite. They should have potential for another problem, ocean side that landward may not have.
and you have the marshes with water.
And if so, maybe this just requires some clarification with
Couple of questions.
with them, and then goes back to I guess, the question that we were going to discuss as to whether we wanted to interview them. My own view is, given that we're down to really only 2, and I want to make sure we make this the right decision, I'm inclined to say, let's talk to these people. I've also got to say to you that while I understand your comment about the other company, I was very impressed with the background of particularly Mr. Vitarian, I hope I'm pronouncing his name the right way, who's the vice president. Has quite an extensive, he might even be older than me, background in this field. And I forget what Tech said about having a meeting, but one of the questions I wanted to ask you here was that they proposed sending a draft report to you and then having a meeting with you and then finalizing the report. I sort of see that as being more valuable as having a meeting with us. than with you. Do you have a problem with that?
No, not at all.
I didn't think you would. Okay.
In fact, the other, that reminds me, another concern we had with the control engineering proposal was the timeline. I think they had 20 business days, 25 business days to actually get to a protocol that they would be willing to implement, and put this really in May. Again, calling in for interview, you can trust them on that, but
Right.
people were trying to get this done sooner rather than later.
That was gonna be a point I was gonna bring up. I mean, from where I sit, I'd like to do this yesterday and get it done. And I don't wanna waylay things at all, and like I said, I would start yesterday, but two companies, do we wait? We get into May, there was concerns about foliage, about
Summer activities.
frogs, the crickets, the other ambient noise that comes out, you know. But like I say, if there's comment on that, please let the board know. If not, like I said, in my gut, I just as soon continue on and go quick. I wouldn't want to wait till next winter.
Is the board amenable to interviews Thursday night? Can we make it?
Yes, I can.
I can make it
Yeah,
Thursday
I'll
night.
try to make it, yeah.
All right.
That assumes that they can come. But we can only ask, right?
Excuse me one second.
Just one question.
Name and address, please.
My name is Jerry Kelly. I live at 56 Moorland Road in Scituate.
Thank you.
Just one question. The community group stood down on asking for a protocol other than the DEP protocol. Mr. Vasa then moved the question that was unanimously voted by the board, that you folks would use a testing protocol that is DEP. Yet despite that, the only acceptable RFP response that you received is the organization that did the feasibility study initially on noise. And the organization, if you recall, that I gave you a FOIA document from Falmouth that was inviting other Mass CEC to attend the session as to how to deal with objections to industrial wind turbines. It astounds me that that's the only organization that deemed it appropriate to respond that's acceptable to Mr. Dean. It's astounding,
Well, we've only got 2 responses.
but the other one isn't acceptable.
Well, yeah, but the board,
And we stood down on the protocol.
I didn't hear Mr. Dean as saying it was unacceptable. I think that he thought the tech proposal was a better one.
He stated that noise control engineering had never done any acoustic studies
I heard
for any
him. Yeah,
developer.
I heard him. But that, I haven't made a decision yet as to which one I'm gonna go with.
I understand. But that's not a positive, Ken.
Well,
I mean, when you've got to pick between 2, there's going to be a negative no matter what.
Right. A lot of it's the timeline that was set, and I think that's what I was trying to get at. It's too short order. We had, what, 2 companies, 3 companies tell us it's just they can't make the time.
Yeah, so, but I mean,
Just get it right, please, just take your time and get it right.
well,
Well, that was the point I was saying. I'd like to have it done yesterday, but I hate to, it bothers me to even suggest to wait 6, 8, 9 months, because then that doesn't look good either.
We're not saying 9 months,
Yeah.
just do it right, please.
Understood. No, that's,
all right, so I'll have to post tomorrow,
right.
right.
and I'll have to find a place to meet, because I'm not even sure this room's available. We'll find out pretty quick. Can you make the requests?
I will make the request. You tell me where and when.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be Thursday at 7 PM somewhere in
In
the town of
Scituate.
Scituate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will hopefully know that.
But we
before-
should be able to find
I
it.
should know that before 9 o'clock tomorrow. Because I want to get it up and going. What I'll do is, the minute I know, I will call you, and then I will post the meeting. And if for some reason they can't come, we may still have to have the meeting in order to decide the next step. And,
What the timeline will be.
Yeah, if there is a problem with someone coming, because I recognize it's short notice, I think we all do, just find out what their schedule would be. We might not be able to accommodate it, but at least we can listen.
Or one at a time.
Right, well, yeah, we could do one at a time, too.
Not ideal, it'd be better to have them both, that way we can
Right.
be able
So
to.
you'd want to do them separately, out of the same room at the same time.
That'd be preferable for the one who's going first. Yes.
It's an interesting point,
So one up at 7, one up at 7:30. or something like
Right.
that.
yeah.
okay.
So that's it, Thursday. So anybody that's going to attend that meeting, please call the Board of Health officer, because we do not know where that meeting's going to be. State that now. It could be in this room, it may not be in
I
this
mean,
room.
we're gonna
So,
get-
And it'll still be posted.
Yeah, well,
It'll be
still
posted,
you
yeah.
know, the agenda will be posted, and we'll get it up to the website too, so anyone can go online and find out the exact spot. You know, we'll shoot for this building first, and then I'll have to investigate a couple of the possibilities.
And we might be able to make your life a little bit easier if Mary's amenable to accepting an email from me maybe on Wednesday, then once we have that all sorted out, then I can just send an email blast to our community.
Sure.
And that way you're.
oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, we can email, you know, we'll email you both each other, and then,
That's,
and
Perfect.
then you can get it out to your people as well. And, you know, for those people who may not be home, you can just access the website.
Yeah.
And we'll hope for the best, so we can get started.
Let me make one other clarification on what Mr. Doherty said. While I believe Tech Environmental was involved in earlier studies for the town of Scituate when they were considering where to site the turbine, they were not involved in the siting of this particular turbine. They were not involved in the acoustical study for this particular turbine for Scituate.
Mr. Doherty, I think, is in another town, I'm Mr. Kelly.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kelly.
yeah. Oh, good. All right, with that, everybody's good. Are there any other questions, comments? We're good? All right. We're on track, so we'll continue to Thursday, March 28th. Holy mackerel.
Any other items on the agenda?
Storm season is over.
Yeah, let's hope. All right, thank you. The only other item was town meeting update and discussion, which we did with our fill-in time at between 7 and 7:10. Old business, does the
Yeah,
board
I
have
told
any
you-
old
I
business?
told you about the storms, I told you about, we've got to start with, once we switch into the testing phase, that should free up meeting time, we can start fluoridation.
Right.
New business? No. Seeing none?
And
Other?
then I expect that you will probably, once we get into the storm repairs, there may be some that'll have to come before the board. But my basic premise is that if we've got one that's destroyed, most of them were done from the early 90s on, and I'm telling them, so we have an approved engineer plan, I'm telling them to repair according to that engineer plan. And then I'm asking for an ASBIL with elevations to verify that.
I think that's a great thing, because it saves on the cost, and the people shouldn't be penalized
Well, it makes
for
it quicker.
Right.
for
It makes it
every-
quicker, too.
For everybody, and even it makes
Yeah.
it quicker for them going for Concom.
It's a Title V compliant plan. It was
Yeah,
already done. There's no
so-
need to reinvent the
I
wheel.
know. I mean, they've got enough problems down there, I don't wanna make anything harder.
Yeah, no, I agree, full-heartedly.
I mean, it'll take a lot of paperwork review on our part, but I think we can turn it around fairly quickly
Yeah.
for them. So they can be back and enjoy whatever we have for season.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
All those in favor?